I'm not here to pick a side for you, but really just open and broaden your mind, kind of sort of really bringing an enlightenment to both sides.
Who is the author of these stories? That these modes of being, science. Who's the author? Is it a collection? Because you could say the same about religion. People say it's God, but it's also the Bible's a collection of stories, right?
People in the science community and people in the religious community do not see eye to eye. Understanding is important.
Yes, like understanding the experience, right? So like you can validate a spiritual experience if you've had that, right? And so that's why there are
Correct.
spiritual communities. So there's that value in both. Then okay, okay. Then what's the
hmm
goal? And do you think that there's like when it comes to science and religion, are the goals the same? Are they different? Is it? Do you think that they're coming from a selfishness or a selflessness? Does quantification and spirituality have a place to sit together? What's the optimal solution? Like, what's the DNA double helix optimal? One side's religion, one side's science. And do you think you can be your own creator? And by that I mean go out and experience new things, recycle your ideology, right? Go experience a new religious service.
Hey, oh yeah, I'm fine with both. I'm fine. I don't feel no type of way. I'm a robot. I don't have any feeling. You're lying. That's not true.
Because you have to have some mode of being, otherwise you're stuck in a decision. You'd be sitting here constantly. Oh, is it empirically correct, or will it go against the glory of God?
Welcome to A and B Mastering the Mind. I'm Alex Crowley.
Welcome, welcome. I'm Bradley Moore, and here on this channel, we believe your prosperous and purposeful driven life is being stolen from you. It's being robbed by your need and your drive to chase that cultural comfort. All right, we all know what I'm talking about: pizza, beer, wings, the game, no running. And so today on this channel, what we like to do, is give you productive, pragmatic, invaluable strategies to infuse the pleasures of life in a way that's not overly hedonistic, right? And Alex's favorite not his favorite probably, but one of the ones he's very, versed on, and I'm really excited to hear his voice on. That's what we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to let him introduce it. I'm excited myself. Mr. A Man, take it away.
Well, I want to thank everybody for clicking on today's episode. And, today's topic will be religion versus science. Now, this is a topic that, many of you, I'm sure, have came across on YouTube or in the classroom or within your social groups, if it, matters or if it ever came up. This is a very touchy subject. This is a topic that, many people may be offended by. Many people feel strongly about, and some may even still remain dismissive and couldn't care less about it at
Right.
all, and that's okay if you don't identify with either one.
So echo that a little bit is basically why I'm here too. It's what we're here for. What's that old salt and pepper is here? I love that song. That's basically what's happening. All right, get ready to get spiced up. Okay, but yes, I agree with that. We're here to help. And I think that our perspectives can help. Listen to us. Listen to other people. Make up your own mind. Read some books. Make up your own mind. And with that, Alex, I think when it comes to science versus religion, we talked about it being a mode of being, right? It's how you survive in life. It's a good way to structure the talk and how we're going to go forward. But what I have as a question for you in that regard, and I'll try to stop you like 5 minutes, okay? Just so you know,
Okay.
because I know you got to work and I'm watching that. I want to get through the whole thing. Yeah, we're working overtime right now for
Yo,
free for
we
you.
working.
For
Yeah,
you.
this is
Okay,
we're
Alex.
not getting paid right
That's
now.
right. No, we are. We're getting paid in here. We're getting
Well,
paid in here, guys.
we're enriching you all
That's
and
right.
ourselves as
We
well.
love you. We're getting paid in here. We'll do it
Yeah.
for free forever if that's what it takes.
Yep.
Okay. Who is the author of these stories? These modes of being, science. Who's the author? Is it a collection? Because you could say the same about religion. People say it's God, but it's also the Bible's a collection of stories, right? Written by multiple people. It's proven. These are just facts that I don't have offhand, but I mean, they're easy to look up.
You
So
know
tell
what?
me, who's the authors?
That's a very interesting question, and it's very complex. There's not really one answer to it. So it really depends on how you choose to look at it. Now, Bradley, I've never really been a one track minded or a single track minded person. I view myself as very well rounded, but enough about me. I believe that there are many different authors. Some would say that there's only one author for your life, and those are the people who are on the religious side. If you identify more on the science side, then
Mm-hmm.
it's a collective of offers. You have to understand, Bradley, that most things that come to pass in human existence, from ancient history, modern history, up until now, and me identifying as a futurist, you're focused on the future as well. Most things have to come to in a collective agreement for that to really be solidified and verified as something that has happened or possibly could have happened, or something that most people can prove or agree upon, thereby making that a fact, really, or something that we should all abide by or believe in
Hmm.
or have an understanding of.
So you're saying
Now,
the
if I
authors are predominantly a collective? Then you would agree with that in terms of science and religion?
if you identify with more on the science side, if you excuse me, if you feel strongly on the scientifical side, then there are many different authors, because not one woman or man invented or discovered every last
Hmm.
scientific discovery that mankind has been able to stumble upon. But if you identify more so on the religious side, then you know that, or you believe that there is only really one author to your life, that is really,
Let me
involving
rebuttal that.
Abraham.
Let's say all religions that way, because I don't want to. I want to kind of
No, no, no.
play
I
devil's
was getting ready
advocate.
to.
Okay, okay.
I
I
was
don't want
getting ready.
to. I don't want to say like from one perspective. You know what I mean? I want to
No,
play
no, no.
devil's
I was
advocate.
gonna. I was gonna be more broad.
Yeah.
You gotta let me finish. But
Yeah.
if you're looking at it from an Abrahamic religion standpoint,
Yeah.
then you're only looking at one author for your life. If
Okay.
you are looking at it from a Hindu or a Buddhist or any other religion, standpoint, because the world has many different religions, then the author of your life may include three people. It may include
Hmm.
five different people. It may include 13 different people or 21. Uh, Alex Crowley is not a man who is a practitioner of every last religion that currently exists or used to exist.
Hmm.
So I'm not personally aware or educated in how each and every believer practices their,
Right.
respective religion. And I'm not here to cast dispersion on any of you. I'm just
Mm.
here to let you know that people in the science community and people in the religious community do not see eye to eye, and there are very strong reasons why,
Mm.
as because the ones who are on the scientific side believe that mankind, was the world, the earth was created from the Big Bang theory, and I'm sure you're familiar with that theory. While if you go on a religious standpoint, some may believe that we were formed from clay, dirt, water, uh,
Right.
matter, which, I mean, we all have matter, right? But
Mm.
we were created by a spiritual being whose existence we can't even really put in a specific
Hmm.
time frame, because if you are a what you would call a god, or any type
Yeah.
of angel or fallen angel, we cannot, with our human logic, measure how long you have been here and how long you may have been wandering in the dark eons before earth even existed. You understand? Because if Earth, if these
It's kind
beings,
of hard to
some would call
measure.
them,
It's easy to measure the
it's
what the
easy to
scientists are
measure,
saying versus what the
then you would be
theologians are
able,
saying from the book, right?
correct,
So would you
because
say that the value in comes from the parables? And I'm playing the advocate again because I don't want
mhm,
to beat up on because I think there's value in it, right?
go ahead.
If you squeeze that juice in the parables, do you think you can link that almost in a way? Maybe science and religion come together, and they say the author of your life is the collective of humanity's knowledge and passion and spirit, something like that.
Well,
And we can settle the author point.
from my perspective, Bradley, I've never known religion as a whole to really bring down science and reduce it down to something that is unimportant.
Hmm.
I don't
There's
know
definitely
where
attempts to do that individually, right? But like that
individually
the
you
Noah's
may
Ark
feel
thing
that
in
way.
Kentucky, right? That's literally just filled with complete rubbish scientific facts about like dinosaurs and humans, and people actually
And I'm
believe
not
that stuff, right?
and
It's
right,
wild, man. That's
people
wild.
people do believe that, and I don't have a primary experience, and I'm not able to go back 10,000 BC or
Right?
100,000 BC and bring back photographs of what happened. So really you could argue that all of us are ignorant
Mm.
of what took
Right.
place centuries
I
ago
I
because
like
you
that.
wasn't there. I
Nope.
wasn't there.
So you
So
think
who are we?
experience is really important? Like when it comes to a scientist, we trust them because we know we can validate their experience.
Understanding is important.
Yes, like understanding the experience, right? So like you can validate a spiritual experience if you've had that, right? And so that's why there are
Correct.
spiritual communities. So there's that value in both. Then okay, yeah.
Correct.
Look at us producing value. This is a good conversation. Okay, then what's the
Hmm.
goal? And do you think that there's like when it comes to science and religion, are the goals the same? Are they different? Is it? Do you think that they're coming from a selfishness or a selflessness? Like some people say religion isn't selfish. Sorry, selfish, or it's completely selfless. Look at what Jesus did, right? But then we hear all these stories about corrupt preachers. I mean, I don't have to defame the Catholic religion for you to understand what I mean when I say that. I mean, doesn't that speak to itself, right? And it speaks to
Hmm.
itself that I don't have to say the issues for everyone to know what they are with the religion, but at the same time, they claim like there is plenty of people that like my father was religious. He did organize religion, and then he kind of stepped back from that. I mean, that's different stuff, but you get what I'm saying. Like, what do you think? Is there a goal of each, and if there is, what is that goal, and is it selfish or selfless, or does that matter? What do you think? Fire question, right? You like that?
Name me. I do like that question. And name me if you can, and I don't think nobody can. I don't even think the most prideful person could answer this question. Name me one subject, ideology, resource, religion, belief, a fundamental that mankind has involved himself in or herself in and didn't corrupt it or stir up strife in one another. You
Mm-hmm.
can't name a single topic that
Mm-hmm.
mankind has not involved
Yes,
themselves in,
sir.
and there's no disagreement or strife among the people. So, I hear these questions and I hear these topics and I hear these debates and I sit back and watch and I listen closely and I make no outward decision on who I identify more with, and it's because it's my choice up until today, right? Well, Bradley, I need you to understand that, the end goals are different for each one.
Yeah.
And they do not come into agreement at the end of the day. And the reason why I say that, because Bradley, although some
Mm-hmm.
may say they complement each other, and I do believe that in some ways that I'm not able to identify off the top of my head right now, they possibly do
Mm-hmm. I would agree with both of those
complement
statements. By
each
the way,
other.
they do and they
Thank you.
don't.
They do and they don't, right? But they don't have the same end goal. That's not true.
Mm-hmm.
Because science is out to prove that, let's be honest, there
Yeah.
is no spiritual world. There is no afterlife. There was never, any
Mm-hmm.
spiritual being or beings with, plural, that created this world and has a, saying and a hand in mankind's fate and what they do on the day to day. And they would also say
Right.
there's no afterlife or a judgment waiting on you for how you lived your life. Whereas again, on the religious side, they're saying that there is. Listen, Bradley, you have to understand something, that uh, these are topics, these are groups, these are communities that you could almost say that, well, there's no right answer. Things are material, scientific, things are spiritual, religion. I want, I need, greed. People are at the top,
Mm-hmm.
people are at the bottom,
Right.
people are fighting within the middle. You understand what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? What I'm saying is this: everybody wants a sign. Everybody wants a
Yeah.
miracle.
I
Everybody
will.
wants a
Yeah.
wonder. Everybody wants to prove that a black hole exists. Everybody wants to prove that, we need to be worried about a specific,
Right.
mutation
It's
within the
that.
human body, or that if you keep cussing, you're on your way to hell. And some would say that's not true. I don't believe that.
Mm. So
And this
would
is
you
the
agree with me that before I lose this thought, I want to hear what you have to say. Do you think science, and I know this is actually why philosophy and science, we know this because we took this class, right? Philosophy, intro to philosophy, great class. If you got $500, go to community
great class.
college, take it. Sociology too, stuff like that. It's worth it, trust me. Do you think that philosophy, which erupted into science, actually was like the human logical response to theology? Because I think it was, right? I mean, you can prove it in 100 different ways. Socrates, all these people that are claiming philosophy aren't necessarily not spiritual, but they're not definitely not religious, and they like empirical fact. So would you say that science actually birthed as like the yin to the yang of theology to say no, this might be true and it's helpful in this way, but here's some tools to say, okay, Zeus is definitely not throwing that lightning. That's because the charges in the cloud and the charges on the ground are separating because of the massive, I don't know the exacts, but I think it's because of the way the cold front pushes up and it like pulls the charges off of the atoms, and basically lightning is the mile sized charge release when that is enough energy. It's not Zeus, basically, right? We can tell what it is based on a physical atomic level. So do you think that was a tool that came out to, and this answers the quantification prop, what does quantification and spirituality have a place to sit together, right? Because there's plenty of religious scientists, right? I mean, they might say I don't believe in God, like he's. Most of them might say I don't believe in God, like he's some person on a white cloud. But do you think they're ultimately positive or negative? And if not, can we combine them to make one? Because science without religion almost feels like an empty case, right? And then religion without science almost feels like a overbearing trap. So what do you think? Are they good? And can they
Well,
work together?
philosophy, to answer the first question, um, more so identifies with science before it would ever identify with religion.
Mm-hmm.
Philosophy and the people who practice it
What about
operate.
theologians? There's a lot of theologic
Hold on, I'm
philosophers and
getting
stuff.
to that. They hold on. Philosophers operate using worldly wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're
I
using
see.
worldly wisdom, you don't understand spiritual things. And this is why philosophy is thought provoking, but some would say it has no real answer to anything. Some would say it just provides you options and different avenues to feel and go about and carry yourself and believe and to put into practice and to repeat different
Yeah.
things. Okay. So I wouldn't want a philosopher telling me how to have an understanding or teach me an understanding of spiritual things, right? You would go to a theologian before you would go to a
Mm-hmm.
philosopher if you want to have an understanding of things that are spiritual. Vice versa, if I'm a spiritual person, but I don't have any real wisdom or any worldly wisdom at that, you wouldn't go seek your mind wouldn't go seek a theologian because you would believe before you actually talk to the person that it would be the philosopher who has a deeper understanding of worldly wisdom, and you may find the answers you need from them. But philosophy doesn't really, it almost goes against religion. Honestly, it does,
Mm-hmm.
because does it not teach that really no one let me watch my words here, but in its rawest form,
Mm-hmm.
you could own when you simplify it all the way down, you could almost argue that no one really has the right answer, right?
Yeah. I would
But with
argue. Yeah, I
religion,
think you're right with that.
you get what
Philosophy
I'm
is
saying? With
is that statement
it's
as
like no
a
one has the
action,
right answer, right?
right?
But with religion, it's promising you that
Mm-hmm.
this is the answer. So
Do you think that's
as
a
a
misinterpretation? And just real
of
quick, I
from
don't want to
who?
sit. Like, do
Go
you
ahead.
think, like we talked about those parables, do you think it's possible that you can overinterpret them because Jesus didn't have physics, right? So maybe if he had physics and an MLA teacher, he could write a little better. And I'm not defaming any of the work he did, so don't get upset. But you get my point.
Hmm.
If I taught Jesus physics, like if I could, and sent him to an MLA instructor and said you've got 2 weeks to write this paper or the Bible, he'd probably kick its ass a little bit better. Do you think he would? My point is, do you think he would have been able to be more convincing, and not just more convincing, but in a way that doesn't let people take the ego, like we've been talking about, and turn it into some sort of twisted analogy of what was really said by the person who had the experience and then wrote the book, right? Like the Buddha and all that. You get what I'm saying with that?
Yeah.
Let me hear
So
what you say.
with religion and its progenitors of each and every religion, they when they wrote their books, or the people that they chose to write these writings, wrote them in a manner where they speak with authority. So they're not writing, or the
Mm-hmm.
words weren't written for you to take the interpretation and try and turn it into something else in your inner mind. Those words were written figuratively, literally, and symbolically, but you still have to have an understanding. So when those words were written in these religious texts, they didn't write those words for you to analyze it, break it down, and then turn it into something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were written for you to analyze it, break it down, and then apply it in your life, because it's really giving you commands on what to do, what to believe. this has happened, this will happen, this is what's going on. I need you to do this. I need you to trust me.
Mm-hmm.
Philosophy is you don't know the answer. Think about it some more, ask more questions, try
Mm.
and look at it from a different viewpoint. You see the
Let
difference?
me ask
You
you
get
this
what?
then. So
Go ahead.
philosophy isn't just a tool to dissect religion.
Hmm.
Philosophy is the wise person's level of philosophy, level of wisdom attempt to communicate the value of the parables in religion in a pragmatic sense.
Arguably, yes.
You know what I mean? And then science
Yeah.
and math and sociology and all those things sprang from philosophy, right? We learned that. I mean, that's literally
Hmm.
how it happened. That was the first thing. So, do you think that's a and we can wrap up with this conclusion? We got another 5 minutes. I really want to hear what you have to say about this. Then, what's the optimal solution? Like, what's the DNA double helix optimal? One side's religion, one side's science. And do you think you can be your own creator? And by that I mean go out and experience new things, recycle your ideology, right? Go experience a new religious service. Talk to Alex about like just talking to you, and this is just a small little nugget. I can tell I'm getting better, right? I'm getting better at telling when like I'm stopping your flow, or when like I can like I'm noting the time, etc., right? And I can get more concisity in what I'm trying to say. And so from that perspective, like that little nugget, it's easy to grow in that sense. So do you think you can use both of those to grow in a lot of areas in your life and have that double helix, like I just said, using new experiences and become your own creator?
I
You know?
believe that I believe that when it comes to religion versus science, or I should say religion and science,
Right.
you can have both in your life. You can understand both, but you will lean between the two. You will lean more so over one than the other.
Do you think that's right?
You correct. You
You
will.
think you
You can
should? Do you
have
think you should lean to one? I'm just asking.
arguably you can have both. Like you can
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge both. You can have an understanding
I
of
agree.
both. But in your mind, you don't have to go around and parade around with a sign saying this.
Yep, I
But
agree.
you will, everybody has to make see Bradley, this could be another topic. Everybody wants to be neutral. Everybody wants to have the
Mm-hmm.
best of both worlds. I'm not saying with some situations you can't. I've seen it, I've been a witness of it happening in people's lives in person.
Yeah.
But when it comes to things like this, let's use wisdom. We talked about it, let's use it. Okay.
Yeah.
You are going to make a choice. You're not, you are going to believe, or I should say lean to one over the other a little bit more. I don't believe that a person will be 50-50. I believe one will be
Mm-hmm.
what they say 51-50 or 49-51. What's that? What, you know what I mean?
It
Like
will be the
you'll
majority, right? Even if it's just 50.001, I know what you mean. Like,
correct.
there's always going to be a leaning towards, and that
You're
I think that ties back to the modality. You have to use one, right? You think it's possible? Like, do you think people should strive for that to lower that number, even if it's because I'm sure Einstein was 0.1% one way, right?
correct.
And other
Um,
notable figures, not just him. I don't want to take your time because I really want to
well,
hear what you say.
what notable figures or
No, no, no. I was just saying I don't want to rattle off a bunch because I really want you to expound on this.
well, because Bradley, listen, you are gonna feel okay. So can I get a little touchy?
Yeah. All right. I know you got to
People,
work. I'm
I
gonna give
got
you
hold
six
on, hold on.
minutes, and we'll be at 30 minutes. So 6 full
Okay,
minutes. I'm just gonna
okay.
let you preach, baby.
There are people in this country who they were ecstatic, they
Mm,
were happy when gay marriage was legalized under the Obama administration.
right.
Excuse me. There were people who weren't happy with that at all, with
Yep.
that decision. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're definitely correct. I knew
Yet
both.
it still yet it still happened,
Right.
right? Now
I
people
see what you're saying.
say, you get what I'm
I
people
see where you're
say,
going. Keep going.
you get what I'm
Keep going,
people
baby. That's
say,
good.
hey, oh yeah, I'm fine with both. Huh? I'm fine. I don't feel no type of way. I'm a robot. I don't have any feeling. You're lying. That's not true.
Yes, sir.
It's okay to want to be altruistic. I never said you didn't have to, keep a good attitude no matter what happens. You don't always have a say so or influence on an outcome of something, especially something as large as a federal government
Mm-hmm.
scale. If we're looking at it from that standpoint, you don't really have a say. That was the Supreme Court ruling. Okay, so let me ask you something, Bradley. You think everybody in the United States of America is just walking around content and happy and pleased and at peace with the fact that gay
Mm-hmm.
marriage is legal?
Yeah.
Because that's a lie.
I'd say I've
That's
definitely
a lie.
people.
Like
I think
not.
people can
Mhm.
get a little less right, but I
They
think you're
make they
right. There's
make
still that
they
seed.
they've accepted it, but
Yeah, that's
these
a better way to
people
put it.
haven't came into agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Accepted and agreement are two different words, two different definitions. It's possible for two people to understand each other like me and you and still not able to come into an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Same with religion and science. I can understand religion and still not come into agreement with what it teaches, or I can be a religious person and still not come into agreement with what science teaches, because ultimately science dethrones and moves aside a spiritual authority, and with religion it sets one up. It tells you that this is who is at the top, not the president, not the queen, not the king, but a god or a group of spiritual beings. So it removes itself from the Big Bang Theory. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
People all around the world have accepted a whole lot, and they'll accept a lot more. But that
Right.
doesn't mean that in their inner heart and in their inner mind that they agree with what they have accepted. Does that make sense?
So they can get along with 51% of the decision, like people
You can
who.
agree with you agreeing. No, agreeing means you're okay. You're pleased with the outcome. You
Mm,
like that whatever has been implemented, you're in agreement with it. You're okay with that. Accepting something means that you're
mm,
not emotionally or
mm-hmm.
verbally or physically
Mm-hmm.
opposed to what has been implemented, but you're not in
You're not going to
agreement.
go out and picket for it.
Exactly. You're not
Mm,
you don't have a good attitude. You don't have a very positive attitude about
I
what
see.
has taken place. You
Yep.
understand what I'm
So
saying?
instead of the positive, you could still be 48%. I think that's what you're saying, and
And a number, and
and that's
you're
enough, right?
using number. Yeah,
Right.
but yeah, same thing.
In terms of
Correct.
like if you think theologically or philosophically in terms of how you vote or something, right?
Correct. Correct. And that's really it. So, at the very
Mm-hmm.
bottom line, when we
It's a good
conclude
point.
the argument between religion versus science, it all comes down to personal choice,
Yep.
character, and what you believe to be true. Where we are wrong is when we overstep personal boundaries. We don't respect other people's interests and their opinions. I don't have to shoot you down and call you a heathen or an unbeliever or call you a rejecter of science and a fool. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's just simply something that you
Mm-hmm.
have to make, a decision you have to make on your own. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
can make it for you. You just give the facts. You see how me and you we gave fact. We didn't give
Yeah.
any really, and I'm sure everybody has a little bit of bias. I don't believe nobody's 100% objective. You
Yeah.
can
No,
probably almost
I
see
agree.
that in this conversation. You
Yeah.
understand?
No,
But
definitely. We both have our leanings. Like
we both have our
I'm trying to
leanings.
get as many zeros in that 50 as I can, but I don't think I'll ever be able to get it exactly right because you have to have some mode of being. Otherwise, you're stuck in decision. You'd be sitting here constantly. Oh, is it empirically correct or will it go against the glory of God? You know what I mean? You would go. You see how that might tear someone up a little bit on the inside, make you a little bit
Exactly.
indecisive. So I think for me, and I think you're making this point too. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is you get as close as you can with those zeros, and then you make your own philosophy. I think ultimately, and you say, okay, like I will vote in this specific rule, even though maybe if it's 35% in favor of it, if we're going to put a numbers to it. But because of the amount of people it'll help, I can sacrifice that 15% of my belief to allow these people to have a little bit better quality of life, right? That's the foundation of America. We say, come here, we don't care about your religion, we don't care about your beliefs, don't impede on other people's rights, and you can have a happy, fruitful life if you work for it. I mean, that's the dream, at least, right? So I think we're
Mhm.
both in agreement there. And with that, I think we've definitely exhausted the content to a good, valuable point. I want to thank everyone for being here. Definitely, oh
Thank you.
man, this was great. I feel the energy in this conversation. This is definitely 5% better, and we're going to keep doing that. I'm not even going to edit this one. There's maybe one part I would edit out, but man, it was I was doing this before when we started to get on the chat, and my man Alex, he said, "You're crazy, bro. Man, it's crazy." And my mic wasn't working, and I was going A and B masterminds.
Man,
So that's the kind of energy we're bringing. I'm trying to get better each time. I think basically Alex is letting me practice being a good host, and vice versa. We're squeezing each other's brains and learning to be courteous with our words and give people space to express their ideas without letting it, you know what I mean? We're learning, but I want to thank you guys. And be mastering the minds. We're here, we're recording at least a few episodes a week. I got school and work, and so does he, but we're here for you. And
we're here for you all, and I want to thank you all for watching today's episode. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all guys in the next video. Thank you very much.
see you next video. Fade out.